Alright, we're in device management looking at our encoders. This is where we would add, delete, or replace an encoder. The encoder is the device that actually makes the keys for us. So I don't have any in my list here. I'm going to choose new encoder. I'm going to put in a name, and this is just a reference name. Say laptop DK encoder. Your encoder type's CABA RFID. Your encoder MAC address. If I choose a list, it's going to show which ones are plugged in. This number should match what's on the bottom of your encoder. The API encoder ID is only used for third-party aggregators, things like that. So we're not using that here. We don't need it. Enable audio feedback, I always leave set to yes. That just means it's going to beep for me when I'm putting credentials on it, when it makes them, things like that. It's easy reference. You can do this as USB or network. If you're doing network, you need to get those settings from your IT department so that you can put in the appropriate settings for your network. I'm going to choose USB. I'm going to click on save. It's going to save the info and make this encoder and add it to my list over here on the left once it gets set up. You might hear some beeps from your system, some kind of disconnects, reconnects, things like that as it's doing this. But now we have this laptop encoder set up and it's showing status as online. That's good. Now we need to assign that as our default encoder if we have more than one. So if we go into anywhere we would be making keys, something like resident management, something like that, we'll see the little encoder icon up here at the top. Wait on the encoder to show up on the list here, and we should be able to click on that encoder icon, and it's loading our encoders for us because it's the first one we put in, still getting set up. Now I can set my default encoder just by checking the check mark here on the side. This shows our laptop encoder, shows it's online. If we have more than one, they would all show on the list and we would be able to check mark it there. Now I'm going to click done. That is now our default encoder for this workstation. If I needed to replace an encoder for any reason, I would go back into device management. I have my encoders in my list on the left. It's populating that list for me now. And if I need to replace one, I can click on delete encoder, and then I would follow the same steps I did before for new encoder. That's how we put an encoder in the system. Thank you.